Haya. Haya. Wana Mombasa mjambo? Mombasa we. Mwanangu Governor Ali Hassan Joho, Justice Korir, viongozi wote ambao wamefika hapa, wana Mombasa, tumerudi Mombasa. Hii ndio hafla peke yake ya kuweka gavana kwa kiti ambayo nimehudhuria. Sijaenda kwa hafla nyingine mahali popote, lakini nina sababu nimekuja Mombasa. Hapa Mombasa, kwanza nataka kutoa shukrani kwenu wana Mombasa kwa ile kura ambayo mlipiga. Mlipiga kura kwa fujo kabisa. 82% ya watu wa Mombasa walijitokeza kupiga kura, na wakanipiga mimi kura 362,000, 362,000 votes, ambayo ilikuwa ni 77% ya kura yote. Hapo Huru walipata 109, ambayo ilikuwa ni 23%. Lakini nilipofika Nairobi, kompyuta ilimjazia ingine kafika 40%. Huyu Hassan Joho nimetoka naye mbali. Tulikuwa hapa na Mombasa na by-election wakati Bwana Karisa Maitha alifariki. Tukawa na by-election hapa Kisauni, na Joho akaja kwangu akaniambia yeye anataka kusimama. Nikamaliza, unaweza? Akaniambia nitajaribu. Nikashika mkono yake. Yale ambayo ilinifurahisha ni ujasiri wake. Hakuwa na uoga. Ingawele jamaa walileta udanganyifu wakati hiyo, hakukufa moyo. Huyu Mwaboza huyu wa Shabal ndiye alikuwa anapingana na yeye huko. Nikamwambia haya yalikuwa ni mazoezi, michuano itakuja baadaye. 2007 tukawa na yeye pamoja. Kwanza 2005 tulikuwa na yeye katika ile chungwa na ndizi. Baada ya 2007 tukaenda na yeye akasimama na chama cha ODM na kashinda. Nikaweka yeye kama waziri mdogo wa uchukuzi, na kafanya kazi mzuri kabisa. 2013 akaniambia sasa nataka ugavana. Nikamwambia endelea. Na huyu Shabal huyu tena juzi hadi alimpinga. Kenda kwa kiwanja akamvuka jamaa, akaanza kampeni ya kuchafua jina. Jamaa hana masomo, jamaa hana nini. Ameendelea akasema degree ya bandia. Chuo kikuu ambayo ilipeana shahada akasema hiyo degree ni halali. Sikukawa na marudio tena. Marudio ilikuwa hapo. Matokeo imetokea. Juzi nilipokuwa hapa kwenye kiwanja hapa, kulikuwa na vurugu, lakini matokeo imesema kweli. Simesema kweli. Sababu nimekuja, Joho alipata kura 66%. Kwa hivyo yeye ni kifaranga kamili ya kuku. Yeye ukienda Machakos 54, ukienda kule Lamu 54, ukienda Nairobi 54, ukienda Kajiado 54, Garissa 54. Yale 54%, hiyo ni kifaranga ya kompyuta. Hao ni vifaranga ya kompyuta. Kwa hivyo Joho amechaguliwa kihalali, na nikasema nitakuja hapa na kuongea na Wakenya kutoka hapa Mombasa. Yale nataka kusema kwa Wakenya, nataka niseme kwa Kimombo ili wengine wachukue vizuri, hata wageni. We came to this great city of Mombasa to witness the swearing in of one of our most able leaders, His Excellency Ali Hassan Joho, for a second term in office as governor of Mombasa County. Join me in congratulating him on his re-election and wishing him success in his dreams for the county and our country, and to deliver the promise of freedom, justice, and plenty to our people. And it is this subject of freedom and justice that I want to talk to you today. The history of freedom is a history of struggle of the people who have the right to vote. From the poor in the federal Europe, to women across the world, to black people in the United States of America, religious minorities, and of course colonized people all over the world. Freedom came with the right to vote. The vote, freely cast and counted, is a powerful weapon for the weak against the powerful. History also tells us that the powerful never give up power and privilege without a fight. 70 years ago, we gave ourselves a new constitution in which we declared that the sovereignty belongs to the people, not to the government, not to the president, not to parliament, not to the courts, but to the people of Kenya. Our sovereignty is individually and collectively expressed by voting for leaders of our choice. The election we concluded 2 weeks ago was critical to restoring faith in the vote following two successive stolen elections. It followed hard-fought electoral reforms in which innocent Kenyans shed blood and lost lives. The Jubilee administration fought tooth and nail to defeat these reforms. And when they could not stop the reforms, they plotted and executed the crudest electoral fraud since the Mlolongo elections of 1988. The only electoral fraud as crude as ours, the recently concluded one in Azerbaijan, where the results leaked before polling stations opened. With this election, our fledgling democracy has been subverted into a system now called electoral authoritarianism. This is the system where dictators give a cloak of democratic respectability by organizing sham elections every 4 or 5 years. We are moving from bad to worse. This time, the computer was set at 54%, in favor of the incumbent presidential candidate and the other selected gubernatorial races across the country. Next time, it will set at 70%. Few people will bother to vote after that. Thereafter, it will be live presidents elected with 98% of the vote. With that system, our young, efficient, and ambitious leaders, like Governor Joho, who have expressed a desire to go for the presidency, will stand no chance. We cannot let it stand. We now find ourselves sharply divided between those who want us to accept and move on and those who are not prepared to live under authoritarianism of any kind. Dictatorships, once established, do not reform themselves. We belong to the category of those who refuse to give up our basic rights and civil liberties, the right to speak, to assemble, to protest, to organize, to travel freely in and out of the country, to criticize the government without fear or favor, to live as free men and women. As you are all aware, we have recognized our position not to file. We reconsidered our position not to file a petition in the Supreme Court about presidential elections. It is important for Kenya to understand why we resisted going to court and why we have reconsidered it. Elections should end with the counting of votes. The Supreme Court is made up of 7 judges. The discretion of 7 individuals, however wise, can neither represent nor substitute the voice of 15 million people. 7 individuals can be intimidated, they can be compromised, and they can make genuine mistakes. Kenyans are still trying to understand what exactly happened in the Supreme Court of 2013, when a decision about their votes was delivered in minutes and a paragraph. Institutionalizing the determination of elections by courts is a deliberate, cynical ploy to lend a cloak of legal respectability to fraud, subversion of democracy, and abuse of the court process. If we accept doing it this way, the courts will never be allowed to be independent by those who want to rely on them to subvert the will of the people. We had hoped that other individuals and organizations would move to courts and at least offer Kenyans a chance to know the truth about what happened to their votes. But soon it became clear that the Jubilee administration was determined to steal all voices and keep Kenyans in the dark about the systematic theft of elections. Jubilee immediately cracked down on brave and independent organizations it merely suspected of planning to go to court. And so we decided to move to court ourselves to give Kenyans a chance to know the truth. Whichever way the court rules, the petition will not of itself cure the electoral impunity. It will not bring justice to those who plotted and executed the theft of votes. It will not hold to account those who sought to cower us into submission by unleashing terror in Mathare, in Kibera, in Kisumu. Stealing of elections in Kenya is a manifestation of the culture of political impunity. The perpetrators of 2017 electoral theft were emboldened by the fact that those who stole the 2013 elections have gone unpunished. We saw some of them at the Bomas of Kenya, expert in electoral fraud, supervising their second electoral fraud. And they are exporting their expertise to neighboring countries that have picked up lessons from Kenya since the fraud of 2007. The only thing that has ever worked against political injustice is the people power. People's power. Colonial subjugation, one-party dictatorship, and the oppressive constitution were not outlawed by courts. They were overcome by the people's determined resistance. And so today, here in Mombasa, we launch a national campaign for truth and electoral justice in Kenya. In this campaign, we will affirm our commitment to freedom, the rule of law, and democracy. We will defend our political rights and democratic space. Let the agents of foreign powers exhorting us to accept and move on so that they can continue to have lackeys to do their bidding know that we will not accept inferior governance. We will resist and disobey illegitimate computer-generated leaders, and will not relent until the voices of the people, as expressed through the ballot, are heard and respected. We will exercise our sovereignty and establish just political order that we have envisioned in the Constitution that we have given ourselves. Then and only then shall the ambitions of our young leaders, restless and ambitious leaders like Ali Hassan Joho, Peter Munya, Isaac Ruto, Amason Kingi, among others, ever have a chance of rising to the top of our political leadership. Nimesema kwa kifupi ya kwamba Wakenya tangu historia ianze hawajapati haki yao kupitia kwa mahakama au kupitia kwa bunge. Haki wa Kenya wamepigania mpaka wa leo. Katiba mpya, ugatuzi, yale yote tumepata kwa sababu wananchi walijitokeza. Tumefika wakati ambaye wa Kenya mpaka waamke. Hii wizi ya kura mpaka ishe. Wizi ya kura mpaka ishe. Hii wizi ndio wa mwisho, na tutakubali wale viongozi ambao wametengenezwa na kompyuta waendelea kututawala. Hatutakubali. We shall not accept and move on. We shall not accept and move on. Hivyo kutoka Mombasa kuelekea bara ya Kenya yote, tunaambia Wakenya ya kwamba wakati imewadia wao kusimama ili watetee haki yao. Vile walipiga kura mpaka heshimiwe na mahakama na wale ambayo walishindwa. Hiyo ni azimio ya Mombasa. Naunga mkono. Wangapi naunga mkono? As many of that opinion say aye. As many of the contrary views say nay. The ayes have it. That's not any son.
Raila TB, Agwambo TB, Tinga TB.